All right, welcome back to another episode of the Black Bullion Show for goldandsilvertoday.com. I apologize if you hear any knocking. There's just a bunch of work being done on the apartment, so all apologies. But all things being equal is the theme for today, because normally, all things being equal, we got data today that would have impacted the dollar and major stock indices in a particular way. But today's not a normal day. Gold and silver particularly are up on the back of a DXY downturn today. And we'll try to make sense of all of this very shortly. But first, if you're new to this channel, please hit that big red subscribe button right down below. Also, please hit the like button. Helps to get this economic evangelism right on out there to the masses to bring more people into precious metals. Okay, so let's start with the data that we got and relate it back to gold and silver. So for the US, for August, we got trade deficit data for goods, and it extended into negative territory where it was actually expected to lessen in August. And normally, all things being equal, news like that would be good for gold. Yet we got that news around 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and barely anything happened in reaction to that. Then we had 2 points of data that looked generally bad for gold and silver. Yet the gold and silver prices continued their uptrends at 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. At 9 a.m. we got July's home price index year-over-year change, which increased, almost being viewed as a lifeline for those struggling right now who are also homeowners. At 10 a.m. we got September's consumer confidence, which, all things being equal again, would be bearish for gold and silver as those numbers really jumped up. August, it was at 86.3. It was expected that it would actually rise to 89.6, and we actually shot up to 101.8, and that is a huge jump. Yet gold and silver continued to push northeast, as you can see on the charts here. So what exactly happened? Well, the DXY has been trending down back into the 93s. Now, the dollar barely reacted well, or worse than expected, to those last bits of data that I shared with you. So something of a greater magnitude must be really weighing the dollar down, right? Well, let's take a look here. And look who's back, the euro. After being down in the 1.16 dumps for a while, it has rushed back into favor for Forex traders. But why is that? Well, our Brexit sentiment indicator seems to be telling a tale of favor being sucked back from the UK in favor of the EU. The last few trading days had the pound to euro exchange rate swing to the northeast. Now, I will say that a slight bit of that euro strength is due to Brexit, but it is more so coming from other information. Here's a quote here to make more sense of that. We only go into the tunnel if there is going to be light at the end of it. The words of EU officials pour cold water on hopes for an imminent breakthrough in Brexit talks and may limit any pound gains. The Guardian's Jennifer Rankin's sources serve as a reality check to more hopeful talk earlier in the day. A tunnel is EU terminology for intense talks aimed to produce a final agreement. Now, I don't think that is the main driver here, but I actually believe this is the main driver. Let me just scroll up here. Euro exchange rates find support as Eurozone economic sentiment beats forecasts. So let's get into this data here. Last week and yesterday, the market's broad appetite for safe havens like the US dollar left the euro weaker. It came as investors became more concerned about the Eurozone's worsening Ronies issue. As markets cooled from the euro sell-off, though, the shared currency regained a little ground against the pound today. Demand for the euro was supported slightly by the latest Eurozone data, which beat forecasts in some key prints. or I think it means key points. The Eurozone's final September consumer confidence report came in at negative 13.9 as projected. However, the month's economic sentiment data improved more than expected to 91.1, while industrial sentiment was a little weaker than forecast. Services sentiment saw a much smaller than expected contraction of 11.1. On top of these overall Eurozone figures, today's French consumer confidence report was also a little stronger than expected. Now, after this data came out, this then occurred. Just going to read this here. Today, the market is mostly flows driven, options related, and month-end flows that have pulled the dollar lower, said Eric Breger, head of FX strategy at Exchange Bank of Canada in Toronto. There were FX options related flows that bet on the downside in the dollar versus the yen, as well as the upside on the euro against the Japanese currency, Breger said. The euro yen options have pulled euro dollar higher. Some analysts also said investors may also be taking profits on recent dollar gains ahead of the first debate between President Donald Trump and the Democratic challenger Joe Biden. And of course, we had some natural selling off of the dollar ahead of the debate. I'll throw in this extra bit of news here as well. Major stock indices didn't react well today on the good economic data that we got from the US, I should say. We actually saw a lot of selling off happening in airline stocks ahead of stimulus talks that will include airline industry support. They're actually running out of time, as many in the airline industry could lose their jobs or be furloughed come October. So going back to metals, today was a solid one for Old Yella and the White Knight, as we like to call him here. The euro still has some fight in it, and it seems like it can still give the dollar a run for its money. I'm just curious to see how the euro reacts tomorrow as Brexit talks continue. Not to be, raining on the parade of the dollar. On the of gold or silver or anything like that, because overall I'm just long-term bullish on gold and silver. But in the near term, I see a lot of movements here that just lead me to think that what's happening with the euro right now won't last, as far as it keeping the dollar down where it is currently, which is obviously helping to push the gold and silver prices up today. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Thanks again for watching. Sorry again for the knocking. It's Black Bullion for goldandsilvertoday.com.